Good morning from the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. Today we're going to be doing one of the trails that is part of the Trail Walker program. We're going to access part of the Florida Trail, approximately 7.1 miles. Very excited to be back on the Florida Trail. We're training for our first through hike. Let's go hiking. We are approaching some of the signage that's right at the trailhead, and we're looking at this beautiful Charles H. Bronson State Forest sign. And not too far from this sign, and actually right from the trailhead, is our access point to the Florida Trail. Very happy to see this signage right here. So let's go ahead and start hiking. And we got about 0.3 miles till we access the main portion of this trail. It is a beautiful day today, and just very excited to be back on the trail. So we've just reached the Florida Trail marker that tells us we are now on the Florida Trail. So we can go left or we can go right. So our plan today, based on our route, is we're going to go left and loop back around to this same location. So we will see this sign again. Other indicators that we are actually on trail is this orange blaze that is on the trees. And we will see if it is consistent like it was in the Little Big Econ. It was just so easy to follow those. It allowed me not to have to really look at the phone map or look at my paper map as often, and really didn't even have to look at the compass at all. I'm also using two phone apps, which are the Far Out map, which has the Florida Trail maps on it, downloadable for a fee, and I'm using the free version of the Footpath app. I'm considering a elite version of the Footpath app, but I'm still exploring my options with that. I've reached out to the company and I'm still waiting for a response based on a few questions that I have related to how it actually will benefit me. Because really what I'm looking for is the feature of being able to see a countdown mileage. So for example, if I route my path as 20 miles, is there a feature on the Elite service that's going to allow me to see a countdown? If I'm doing a loop or if I'm doing a out and back trail, I really would like to see that feature. So again, I will continue exploring that option, and there's plenty of options out there. These are two apps on my phone that have been highly recommended by folks that have completed a lot of the massive through hikes, such as the 1,500 mile Florida Trail, as well as the Appalachian Trail. So we will keep exploring and hopefully not get lost. All right, just checking in. We have just reached 0.5 miles on the Florida Trail. That is actually a portion of the Joshua Creek trailhead. And this is an interesting trail, to say the least. We're about 12 minutes and 45 seconds into our hike, and I'll tell you, the actual trail is interesting because it's very narrow, and you can see in front of me, it's pretty well worn down. At least there's a pathway, but the nature's really reaching out and hugging us on this trail. It barely gives me even any room to put down my trekking poles, but I have them. I always have my trekking poles, and my Trekology trekking poles have been very good to me. This trail tread is sandy. It's got pine needles. It definitely has some vegetation that's reaching out and touching you. It just feels like you're really immersed in nature on this trail. Just want to show you our quick transition here from this open field, I guess, / prairie, into this beautiful forest. Finally, forest and coverage. And we have our first land bridge as we step up from the natural trail tread to this wooden crossover here. It is it's in pretty good shape. It appears that way. And it's taken us over some of these couple areas in the actual forest here. So we are really immersed in the forest right now. And just really happy to be under this canopy. That's really what I look for these days, is the canopy, because those open fields are brutal. Especially when this Florida sun starts really coming up and showing its glory, all its glory. So this land bridge actually continues, and we are slowly but surely navigating it. Definitely a unique feature to this section of the Florida Trail inside of the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. I really love seeing these unique features. The first one I saw was actually yesterday on another section of the Florida Trail. So we're actually transitioning back to the natural trail tread. But those are the types of unique features that I like to capture while on the trail, and especially training, because it gives you a different perception of what's actually in front of you, what you're going to experience. We won't be able to capture the entire trail. However, we will definitely be capturing the unique experiences, such as the land bridges and different boardwalks, and just some other unique features such as waterfalls or different catch areas that we may be able to catch water. So we're actually at the Joshua Creek campsite. That's required. Reservations are required. So if you go left, you'll hit that campsite, Joshua Creek campsite. And again, we go right, we continue on the Florida Trail. All right, so we have just hit 1 mile on the Florida Trail inside of the Charles H. Bronson State Forest in Florida. And right now we are getting deeper and deeper into this canopy here. I'm just keeping my eyes out for anything that might pop out. I'm going through a lot of spider webs, so I may be the first one on the trail this morning. But I'm definitely being vigilant as we work our way through this trail. Ooh, that's a big spider. I am not going to bother you. Holy smokes. So you never know what you're going to see out here. Our pace right now is about 23 minutes a mile. So we've actually are approaching our second land bridge here on the Florida Trail inside of the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. And again, it allows us to access a lot of these areas that are a little bit more difficult, especially if there's any kind of water involved, which I do see a lot of water underneath of us. So we are continuing on this land bridge, which is a little slippery, so I recommend using your trekking poles to kind of keep maintaining that stability on here and balance, because this one is it's closer to the ground, so you can actually very easily put out your trekking poles to the side or even on the actual land bridge. So we're transitioning now back to the natural trail tread. So we're at 1.5 miles and it's about 37 minutes into the hike, and we've had to go a little bit slower in this section because some of this this nature is reaching out and touching us on this trail. We just transitioned from a thick forest ecosystem to more of an open pine tree forest, and looks like there may have been some controlled burn here probably within the last, I don't know, year or so, maybe longer. But you can just definitely see and feel the differences in when we change into different sections of the ecosystem. Right now, it's just different smell than it was about 500 steps prior. You could smell these pine trees and all the saplings that are beginning to grow on these scorched trees, and also the lower vegetation. All right, so I'm approaching another crossroads here, and my maps tell me to keep going on the Florida Trail. And eventually we're going to leave the Florida Trail, at least this portion of it, this section, and we're going to be looping around on the Joshua Creek Trail, which is the actual trail walker approved trail, which is about 9.2 miles based on the research and the map that I'm able to access. So we won't be on the Florida Trail for much longer, at least on this section. Now, the best thing is that when we continue looping around, we will join back on to the Florida Trail, because there's, according to the route, is about 7.1 miles of Florida Trail inside of the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. So it appears that we will be doing a large section of this trail, if not all of it, as we are moving towards our goal on the Trail Walker program. So right now, we can continue going to the left, and that's the Florida Trail based on the blaze orange markings. However, I think this is our junction point. This is to the River Trail white. So I know the blue is more of an access trail, because we used that as we actually came, when we actually started the trail at the trail head. So let's explore this and keep hiking. All right, so this is our junction. We are breaking from the Florida Trail right now as we continue on the Joshua Creek Trail that is part of the actual approved trail for the Trail Walker program. So we're going to continue hiking this trail, and there's some big old spider webs right here. Let's see if I can get around this spider web or under it somehow so I don't disturb that big old spider. So let's see. Let's see what we can do. We can go quick. Not disturb that spider. Yep, didn't disturb it. Good job. Yeah, there's some monster spiders on this trail, and they're about right in your face too, unfortunately. Right now we just hit 2 miles, and we're about 50 minutes into this, so we're doing pretty good on pace-wise. It just opened up big time on this trail, because when we were actually on the Florida Trail, it was a little bit tighter related to some of the trail tread, but mostly because of the vegetation. I mean, it was literally over my head, and just reaching out and hugging me. So we're going to continue on this section and see where it leads us. All right, we've just reached the 2.5 mile duration on this trail, and we are currently moving in the direction of completing the loop of a 9.2 mile trail, which is called the Joshua Creek Trail. And we are well into this hike, and we're at a pretty good pace. We're at about 62 minutes, and we're making good time going through this little access trail that's going to loop us back around to the Florida Trail. So we were on the Florida Trail for a while, and then I heard something behind me, just to make sure nothing's following me. All right, so we're approaching another junction here in this access trail as we're looping around, and here we got some more signage. So looks like we're still on the Florida Trail, which is interesting. So I'll have to research that, because I see the signage here, and obviously it says this is the Florida Trail. So according to the map, it's different. So we're going to find out what that really means. So let's keep hiking and we'll figure it out. All right, so we are coming to a junction that we see on the far out map here. You can see where we are right now. And this is still telling us that we are on the Florida Trail as we loop back around towards the trailhead of the Charles H. Bronson trailhead. So based on map, I'm still on the trail. I just want to make sure that I'm continuing in the right direction, which looks like based on the map, and I took a look at the paper map as well, and it definitely confirms I'm going the right way. So if I have to backtrack, it's pretty easy here because there's a lot of signage and a lot of different markers. So right now, looks like I'm transitioning from the blue markers to more of a white marker. So I'm going to follow those and see where they take me. So I've just hit my 3-mile marker here on my watch. There's no real gauge of mileage out here on the trail, but I definitely have my maps, and I've got my Apple Watch that's telling me my pace, which I'm still holding about a 23-minute mile pace, and it's a little bit faster going through these open areas than it is back in that thick forest that we went through. But definitely the differences between walking in the forest is the actual canopy and the coverage and the shade, all those put together, versus out here where you can see the sun is just beaten down. It's not a full sun, but there is partial coverage as we continue hiking. So we're approaching a more formal trail marker here, and this is the actual, it says County Line Campsite. So it looks like a very nice primitive campsite back there. Has a fire pit from what I can see, a picnic table, and it's got a perimeter on it that's made of railroad tie. Hey, one day we will get a permit to do some primitive camping back here. This is about 2.3 miles into this loop. All right, I just reached my 3.5 mile mark, and I am making my way around here through this thicket here. Hold on a second, let me get my bearings here. Okay, I found my bearings and had to look a little bit for it, but I came to an awesome little watering hole here, and I'll flip the camera here so you can see it. So this is the area in which I just reached with another land bridge. So we're gonna go ahead and walk over this and keep hiking. At 3.6 miles in here, we're gonna be walking over this land bridge, over this water source, and this is the Boozcombe Creek. So it's definitely some dark water. So I'm very thankful for this raised walkway, this land bridge I call. I don't really know what the official name is, but I'll find out. I just like to call it a land bridge because it's a bridge that's affixed to the land. So a little humor in it too, I guess. So just as quick as we jumped on this land bridge, we're back on the natural trail. I just hit my 4-mile mark, and we are on a trail that is 9.2 miles right now. Really enjoying this hike. It's very well marked, and everything's lining up between my paper map and my 2 phone apps, and just trying to stay on the trail, as well as just really enjoying being in this green space. Just want to show you this little section here I'm walking through. Just seems different than all the other sections based on the routes and such that are in the area, and we're about 4.94 miles into the loop, but definitely gives us some coverage, and also gives us, man, there's some spiders on this trail, man. Holy smoky bones. I'm trying my best. I keep running into them. Jeez Louise. And they are not small, so we're gonna try our best to work our way around them sometimes, unless I run into them. But we're in this area right now, and it just got a lot cooler all of a sudden. So definitely a unexpected treat per se. Let's keep hiking as we listen to the sounds of nature. And I realize how loud these insects can be. until you're really immersed in their environment, in this green space. We just hit the 5th mile in our hike today, and we are actually gaining some speed through this area. Or at least we were gaining some speed in this area. We are about 22 minutes a mile, which is fantastic. So we were at about 23 minutes per mile, and now we're down to 22 as we continue to navigate this trail extension between the two sections of the Florida Trail. We're about 5.23 miles into our hike, and we are crossing an area which the Far Out Trail identifies as the Christmas Creek. And we are on a raised platform, a bridge here that takes us over this creek. And I love these unique features, as it allows us to access some areas that would otherwise either have us going around that area or unfortunately through that area, which we might get a little wet. We've reached our 5.5 mile mark, and right now we are going farther than we've gone yet on some of the Florida Trail. Good day to push the limits a little bit to see how it feels, and we've checked, me, myself, and I, and we're up for the challenge. Let's keep going. So we are approaching a fence line here, barbed wire, and we are also approaching something very exciting. I see a junction, and it is my favorite sign and my favorite markings again. We have found the other side of the Charles H. Bronson Park here, and where it accesses the Florida Trail again on the loop. Very exciting to see this area. I'm just gonna spin a little bit. You can see right here the actual junction here, because we start with from the white and we go to the blaze orange again as we continue to my right. And then also, if we were traveling more on the Florida Trail, the staging area right here, we would actually continue as well, going in the direction of my left. So left and right now, we could go on the Florida Trail, but to continue the trail that we're on, because we're doing the Trail Walker program, we're going to continue in this direction on the Florida Trail back towards the Charles H. Bronson Trailhead. All right, so we are accomplishing new goals here. We just hit our 6 miles on the Florida Trail / White Trail / Blue Trail access, and we are happy to be back on the additional portion of the Florida Trail. We've just arrived at the primitive camping site number 3. This is called the Fern Camp, and you can see the area over here. I'm not going to go in there because we want to keep hiking, but it's got a picnic table. It looks like it has a area that you can actually hang some items as well, and also has burn pit as well, designated burn pit within a railroad tie area there that they can actually put a tent up and or some shelter. We just hit our 6.5 miles. We just transitioned from the forest back into full sun, and it is about 10 minutes to 11 a.m. and it is gonna get hot pretty quickly. So hopefully we can get back into the forest and coverage here shortly. So my wishful thinking came true as we were in that full sun for just a little bit of time. And look what we've found here. We found the Christmas Creek and a bench with the Florida Trail symbol on it as well. And this is one of those beautiful, unique features of the trail, which I absolutely love. And this one actually has a name to it. And this is actually maintained by the volunteers of the Florida Trail Association. So thank you to them. All right, we are crossing the Christmas Creek here. And thank you to the Florida Trail Association for putting that land bridge up, structure, to get us back onto the trail tread very quickly and dry. I love those unique features of the Florida Trail, and any trail at that. And there's plenty of those features on this trail. All right, we are just about hitting the 7 milestone, and we're crossing over the equestrian trail here, and we're continuing on to the Florida Trail. So let's keep hiking. So just had my first encounter with one animal on the actual trail, and it was a turtle. So the turtle was actually heading my way when I was turning the corner, and then he stopped, and I stopped and took a picture of him and tried to go around him, and he started actually going the other way. So he was actually walking the trail with me. So that was definitely a unique experience. So you never know what you're going to run into on the trail. We just hit 7.5 miles in our hike today, and our goal is 9.2 miles based on all the maps and everything that we have planned out for our route. And this has been a great trail so far. I mean, it's been a mix of the trails at the Charles H. Bronson State Forest, and we've also been doing about 7.1 miles of the Florida Trail, which is our ultimate goal, is to be training on the Florida Trail, or sections of the Florida Trail that we can actually access in Central Florida and possibly beyond, depending. Just ran through a spider web. So we just hit our personal best, and what I mean by that is that we haven't done anything over 7.1 miles on an actual natural trail in a preserve or a state forest or national forest yet. Now, our longest trail that we've done, our longest hike and training, was actually at the Canaveral National Seashore, which was 12.8 miles. And I'll tell you this, that was brutal. So at least in the Charles H. Bronson State Forest, you have a couple transitions between several ecosystems, but that also allows you to go from open field to this canopy coverage like we have right now. Yeah, it's got a little bit of sun spots, but nothing like that full sun. That just sucks the life out of you. So we just got to make sure we have plenty of water, and we keep our eye on the prize, per se, which is completing this 9.5 mile trail within the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. All right, so the Apple Watch just told me we have entered our 8th mile. And right now, we feel good. We feel motivated. We have done some body scans and said, okay, are we good from our head to our toes and from our toes to our head? And we've all agreed we're doing okay. So now for this last push here, we are getting in the full sun. Let me go ahead and turn this real quick. Oh, jeez. So, no surprise. Save the best question mark for last. But this is the full sun exposure here that we kind of go in and out of while we're hiking these parts of the Florida Trail. And you can just see how thick this vegetation is. And this nature is definitely up close and personal, hugging every step of the way. So there's some spots where you kind of got to push through this, but right now it's pretty clear. There's still a trail, and like I say, any trail is a good trail. So let's keep driving on here, and let's complete this 9.5 miles inside of the Charles H. Bronson State Forest today, as we are continuing our project to complete and achieve all the goals within the Trail Walker program that is offered by the Florida State Forest Service. So let's keep our eyes peeled for anything unique as we close in on that 9.5 miles. We've approached another land bridge here, and looks like it's in sections here, but this is considered the South Slaw. I think that's pronouncing that correctly. It's on the Far Out app as we finagle our way through here. I mean, there's definitely a interesting feel to this. I mean, they've actually thought about it and prevented from slipping by putting a little bit of that chicken wire down on top of this, so we've actually got some grip so we don't slip all over the place. So good job, Florida Trail volunteers. Appreciate that. And really wanted to say thank you generally to the Florida Trail Association and the volunteers and the folks that take care of this trail, and they keep these markers fresh. It makes it very easy to navigate and enjoyable, instead of having to keep looking at the map and looking at the phone app and all that kind of stuff. I can just keep my head up, and obviously still want to swivel for anything that's on the ground, from snakes to anything that might be following me or on the trail in front of me. All right, I'm happy to report that we just hit 8.5 miles. So far, so good. It has been a very interesting transition, and there's a lot of psychology behind the transitions for me now because of a brutal full sun exposure hike that I had, and physiologically how draining that was. So I really enjoy going from, honestly, the full sun, which is open field or prairie, which we're about to hit right now because we're crossing the road right now as we continue on the Florida Trail here. But the prairies have the full sun. These fields have full sun as well. I'm getting ready to walk through a little bit of a pine forest here for, looks like maybe the next mile or so, or it could be less, don't know yet. But this is definitely a unique transition, as it allows you to weave in and out of the different areas. So you go from open field for a little bit, and it's just enough to push you a little bit and say, I wonder when I'm going to get back in the forest. And as soon as you start thinking that, boom, you're right back in the forest. So you've got that canopy and that cover. Very enjoyable. The trail markings are awesome. Again, the volunteers that are maintaining these trails, I tip my hat to you. So thank you very much. So this may be the view of the home stretch here. We're at about 8.7 miles in the 9.5 mile hike at the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. And this is one of those beautiful ecosystems that we continually to transition in and out of. Again, I'm very thankful for the cloud coverage, because if not, it would be just beating down the sun right here. But again, I got my Tilly hat on, and I've got my Omni-Shade shirt and shorts on to protect my skin. I've got some sunscreen on, I've got sunglasses. So I'm taking the precautions, but it's still, that sun and that heat, it takes a toll. However, we're almost done with this hike. Again, this should be the final push as we are heading back towards the Joshua Creek trailhead inside of the Charles H. Bronson State Forest. And this trail that we've been on today is 9.5 miles, and it's part of the trail walking program through the Florida State Forest Services. And we're happy to do this. It's a challenge, and we accept the challenge. So we got plenty more trails to do, and we're motivated. Well, I'm happy to say that we have arrived at our junction, even confirmed by our Far Out app here, that we are right on point with the access trail back to the Joshua Creek trailhead. Good indicator here, right in front of us. Let's figure out which way we're going to go, and it looks like we're going to head in this direction toward the blue markers, which is the Blue Connector Trail. So that should take us right back to the actual trailhead and also the parking lot. Man, it feels good. Very happy. It's exciting. It's like winning first prize. You plan this stuff out, and you plan these well in advance, because it just depends on if you need parking or permits or whatever it may be to be in the park. There's a $2 fee here to access this trailhead, and it seems like it's pretty consistent for a day pass for any of the Florida state forests so far. So I paid the same at the Little Big Econ State Forest as well. It's probably the same across the board, but minimal fee for the access to this beautiful green space. I mean, you cannot ask for a better experience here. So I just wanted to quickly just summarize what I'm actually carrying today for my training project here. And I'm wearing the 24-liter Osprey Stratos backpack, and I filled it with all my essentials. I'm carrying 3 liters of water today because of the length of this trail. And generally I'll carry about 2 liters, but today I carried another liter of water. And so 2 liters of straight water and 1 liter of water, and I add Gatorade to it for the electrolytes. So I add the G2 powder to it, and it definitely helps, especially sweating to death out here. So I'm also carrying my fixed blade knife in the sheath by SOG. I'm carrying my Saber Red bear spray. I'm also carrying inside the backpack some snacks. I'm carrying some wipes in case nature calls. You can bury these wipes, which are biodegradable. Haven't had to use them yet, so we'll let you know, I guess, when I experience that. We also have a power supply that I have on a portable power charger that I bring with me. Haven't had to use it yet. I'm using a DJI with an extended battery, and it works great. I'm also using the iPhone as well, and batteries are doing pretty well. So I have all those cords to go with all the electronics. I also have a rain jacket. I have a poncho. I have my Tilly hat on. I'm wearing an Apple Watch, which is keeping my pace and my time. I also carry a compass. Right now today I'm carrying a Sunto A10 compass. Also have a emergency whistle. Have my paper map, and I'm also using 2 apps. The Footpath app that I've been using since I started training, and I'm also using the Far Out app, which specifically has the Florida Trail maps that I've purchased. The Far Out app has a lot of features on it related to the Florida Trail, so I don't know, there's some competition. So right now we have just made it back to the trailhead, and I'll go out here and you'll see the gate right behind me as I'm walking through. So we have accomplished our goal, friends, as we are training for our first through hike, and we were able to train today on between 9.2 and 9.5 miles of trail within the Charles H. Bronson State Forest, and 7.1 miles of those were the actual Florida Trail. So very happy today to complete this, and I'm motivated, I feel good, and we're going to continue training for our first through hike. See you on the next trail.